America and the world has a big, big problem this morning. It is way bigger than even the extremely horrific and sad loss of life and unbelievable terror acts against women and children in Israel over the weekend. It is way bigger than what the market is up to or what's happening on the markets today or this week. It's quite frankly bigger than anything I've experienced in my lifetime, including things like 9/11. And if we don't wake up to this issue, we are on a path that is hard to contemplate the outcome. This is Randy Kirk. I'm going to forgo all the rest of what I do in the morning. I will talk about the market briefly at the end. We didn't see anyone marching in the street congratulating the strike on the Twin Towers on 9/11. The Arab communities came out against the attacks and worried that Americans would become prejudiced against all Arabs and Muslims due to the attack. But that didn't happen. America didn't do that. We were wise enough to nuance the difference between those who carried out the attack and those who had chosen to have a life in a pluralistic society that honored the differences and honored the rule of law. When ISIS was raging and creating monstrous attacks, we didn't see Arab or Muslim groups celebrating in the streets of New York, Ottawa, or London. We didn't see campus groups from our elite universities saying that they stood with ISIS. That would have been considered as anti-American and anti-human as you could possibly be. Now we have probably, almost certainly, the most horrific act of war since the Middle Ages, not counting the Holocaust. The nations of the world agreed and have agreed to set up a set of principles that dictate how warriors and warring parties are supposed to restrain themselves in their acts when they're trying to redress grievances or deal defensively against aggression. Hamas leaderships and those who have fought for Hamas this weekend have no interest in those agreed upon values. Whatever their grievances are or their intentions, they have obliterated any concept, any idea of civility. Those who stand with them are complicit. Simple, they're complicit. Those who marched yesterday are terrorists themselves. They are shouting at us who believe in peace, who believe in civility. They are shouting that they are perfectly willing to do these same acts of terror to redress their grievances or advance their causes. Meanwhile, our government is using their valuable intelligence operation to go after moms and dads who merely raise their voices at school board meetings and referring to them as terrorists. I won't even get into what Hillary Clinton said over the weekend. Are those same agencies out on the streets of New York yesterday taking names, following those folks back to where they live or meet to plot their next acts of anti-Semitism, anti-humanism? I stand with the people of Israel today, and it breaks my heart that such acts can be perpetrated in the 20th century against people due to their religion, due to anything. I can't imagine these acts in the 21st century. It's beyond my belief. It's hard enough to see the Russians do what they're doing to the Ukrainians. Possibly the Ukrainians are doing some of those same things back. I don't know. I haven't followed it that closely, but I do know what happened yesterday in Israel is clear. But more so, I stand up for the American Constitution and the American system of justice. And I call upon the leaders in this country to do what is necessary to protect the Jews and others of us in the United States from this enemy within. And by that, I mean those who marched yesterday and those who led them and those who signed those petitions at Harvard or Yale or wherever it was yesterday. Probably all of them would be the same. Internationally, it is beyond my comprehension why we even bother to have a UN. Entire nations who supported Hamas over these last days are members of the UN and vote against U.S. interests all the time. They should have no place in the UN. There should be no place for them. Anybody who believes that these criminal behaviors are in any way to be approved of or that we look the other way, much less celebrated, should have their memberships revoked immediately. And the U.S. should leave the UN if that doesn't happen. Well, I'm almost done with my rant, but I am saying these words. I'm not saying these words lightly. We have enemies in our country right now, clear-cut enemies, not a few. We need to root them out. This is not about freedom of speech. This is not freedom of ideas, not freedom of thought. This is about not allowing folks who apparently think it's okay to kill civilians, women, children, and old folks, capture them to be used as human shields, and use pictures of atrocities as a propaganda tool. That these are our enemies. It's not freedom of speech. You are likely going to have to stand up against this with whatever resources you have. Your vote, your donations, your own protests, your emails to friends and associates. Well, let me see if I can turn the page for just a second and actually report the news, the financial news. The only Tesla news, believe me, there was no Tesla news overnight, but this was very, very, very interesting and great news. Fortune put out its 100 most powerful women, a list. They ranked 3 from among the Elon Musk empire. Gwen Shotwell was number 54, Linda Yaccarino was number 58, and Robin Denholm was number 95. Congratulations to all of those, and thank you, Alexandra Mers, Tesla Boomer Mama, for bringing that to our attention. Well, the market has responded, of course, to what's going on in Israel, much more muted than it might have, and much more muted than it was even overnight. Oil prices are up, but they were up 5% last night. Now they're not quite up as much. Let's just go ahead. Let's go straight to the numbers, and that'll be it for this morning. I do have a really good, you want to look for this later today, probably around the noon hour, could be later in the day, but I've got an essay you are not going to want to miss, and it's not to do with Israel, even though maybe that's all we should be talking about right now. Okay, so where are we? The Dow Jones Industrials down 0.19 is all, down 59 points. S&P down 0.23 are 9 points. The NASDAQ down only 0.5%, down 70 points. We have got no bond market today. Remember, there's no bond market today, so we'll see how bonds open up tomorrow. We'll know later today in the pre-market. We have the Bitcoin down 410, back down into the mid-2700s. We've got the dollar rising, of course. We have a flight to safety. We have gold rising 15 points this morning, but still only at 1861. But again, a flight to safety. We have oil right now up 4%, so up $3.33. Brent, this is interesting. Texas Intermediate and Brent are now very similarly priced, just $1 apart, $1.50 apart. Haven't seen that. I haven't followed oil this closely until 7 or 8 months ago, but interesting to see usually around $3 differentiating them. That's what we've got in terms of news this morning. I hope that my rant hits you where it should hit you. I hope that you will act. I hope you will take some action. This is not, I didn't say it lightly when I say this is the most important thing that I have seen. 9/11 was huge. The assassination of our leadership, we had a short spate where leader after leader was being gunned down. That was horrific and horrible. No, this is another level where we are allowing folks to live among us who hold feelings and ideas and approaches to dealing with those ideas that you can't have in a civilized society. You just can't have them. It would be like just like allowing murderers to get out of jail easily. Oh yeah, we do that already. Okay, I'm done. Listen, I gotta go start preparing the next one. It has been great talking to you, but I hate the subject matter.